Well, hello and welcome to Travels with Geordie. If this is your first visit, my name is Peter Knowles and I live on this classic wooden motor cruiser here in Victoria, British Columbia, along with the loving memory of my pup Geordie, all the while fixing it up for some pretty major cruising someday. If that's the sort of thing you might find interesting, please consider sticking around and subscribing. So, what have we been up to? Well, I made a mast and maybe. But before any of that, I gotta show you something really awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce you to the latest monk in the fleet. This is a pre-war 1938 28-foot Edwin Monk tri-cabin sweetheart, and my very good friend who has come across from Nova Scotia to enjoy the wooden boat lifestyle, Lloyd, who I'm about to introduce you to, has just bought this beauty, and you're going to learn a lot more about it in the next little while. It is absolutely gorgeous. Let me introduce you to Lloyd Williams. How are you, Lloyd?
Hey Peter, how you doing? Great to
I
see you.
am freaking awesome. It's so pre-war, it is so covered with bronze, it is so handmade perfect. I'm so excited about it, and Lloyd has big plans for it.
Yes, we're going to do some serious cruising in the Sailor Sea.
We are, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, live aboard?
Live aboard.
Live aboard. Excellent. All right. Exciting stuff coming. Lots more to learn about. Hang in there. This little beauty here is the original mast that was on the boat when I got it, and it's rubbish. It leaked terribly at the deck and was falling apart. And anyway, I'm going to build a new mast, but not quite yet. So I'm just going to take the steaming light and the anchor light off it, and then we're going to build something interim. Now I'm going to try and be really clever about my new mast design, because at some point I want radar, which of course is heavy, and I have to think about what other things are to go up on here, and I have to design it in such a way that it's not going to conflict with the solar, which is going to end up on the wheelhouse cabin top. So there's a bit to think about. I'm thinking 5200. Somebody 5200'd me. There we go. I'm going to replace the wires anyway. Beauty. Cool. Well, I won't say it's beautiful, but it saves me from having to buy another one right away. Done. Steaming light. So let's talk a little bit about what it is I have in mind. So you can see where the mast was, dead center in the wheelhouse cabin top. I guess probably relatively common, but I don't want to do that because I want this to be a sea of solar panels, and I don't want the mast in that area. So I'm going to try and incorporate it in with the leading structure of the upper helm windshield. Now this all needs to be completely rebuilt, so it gives me the opportunity to do that. I also have to decide what I'm going to do with that wicked air horn. It actually runs off a compressed bottle of CO2. I don't even know what pressure, but it's loud. Not quite sure where it's going to go, what I'm going to do with it, but anyway, that's yet another discussion. So I think it's going to be incorporated into, as I said, the leading edge of this windshield somehow, but then there's that in the way. And now I know most of you don't think much of this little awning up here, but I love it. And whether or not this is the awning that is eventually on the boat or something else, you do need protection in this part of the boat. So what I'm going to do in the meantime, interim, is I'm actually going to build a nearly vertical mast that I'm going to incorporate into the existing leading edge of the existing windshield, because it's going to be a year or more before I actually rebuild this. And it's going to be made out of something very simple, but it will be functional because the boat needs to have an anchor light and a running light to pass survey, which is coming soon. All right then, so picking up on the mast project, I'm actually really looking forward to this, even though it's going to be a complete hack. An interim mast, so to speak. Okay, so I think I showed you the old mast just to sit in the middle of the cabin top, and it was not original and not very nice and not very effective. Okay, I just need something simple that can affix to the front leading edge of this, and I'm going to make it out of this. Now this isn't quite a 2x4, even though in 2021 this would be about as expensive as mahogany. It's actually cedar, so at least we're making something out of cedar, and we'll do what we can to make it reasonable. So the idea is 6 feet, which gets us up above my awning here, which I know is universally loved. And it's gonna sit on a bit of an angle, and I gotta cut a kind of a, I can't do this with two hands. Let's just get going. Okay, so the mast will have a little bit of rake, not as much as the windshield because I don't want it sweeping way back here, plus it has to clear the awning up here. So if I move it at least the width of the 2x4 forward, I can come down here and scribe. In fact, I'm going to just set it in there to get a good idea of that angle. Put this where I want it up here, and then just scribe from nothing parallel to this. So if I cut that off, this will sit against there that much further back and just clear up here. I may have to make a slight adjustment, and then what I'm going to do is taper the top side of it. But let's get this cut done first. One of the reasons I'm so excited about today is because I'm working up on the bridge deck under this beautiful big awning, and this will be my future wood shop. While I'm cruising, I won't convert the wheelhouse to wood shop in future. I'll do all my carpentry up here. But of course, to do that, I have to be able to be somewhere where noise isn't going to bother people, so in little secluded coves here and there. Anyway, I just love working up here. I love the breeze. I love it all. I'm only doing a few cuts today, so I won't annoy my neighbors too much. Love that cedar. Okay, so how does that sit? Very, very nice. That's perfect. Okay. So I'm going to figure out a way to put a strut in here. I'm not quite sure what that's going to be, but I can tell that from this point up, it's going to start to taper again. So I'm just going to imagine there somewhere. Yeah, about there. I want to leave something at the top to build a little block to hold the anchor light, but it doesn't need to be too big, roughly square. So if I go up about there, that should look great. Beauty. All right, so if we put this back in place, it now sits exactly where I wanted it, just a few inches off the awning here. And what I need to do now, before I get too far advanced, is just mark off a horizontal on the top to cut for the anchor light. Now the boat is not sitting level right now. It's a little high in the bow with no batteries or fuel tanks, so I got to compensate for that and put this on a little bit high in the front. There, excellent. Close enough for me. Now I'm going to want to route a trough in the back side of it. This is the front, this is the back, to run wires in. Now it won't ever get covered, but at least the wires can sit in a trough. It won't be quite so hideously ugly. And to do that, I'll just set the blade nice and low and use the ripping guide and just keep making subsequent rips with the blade, with the guide moved over. So I'm starting over on one side. All right, a couple are a bit wide, gotta go grab a chisel, pull them out. There we go. All right, so next is developing the brace, which I'm going to make out of this marine ply. Don't be too upset. Remember, it's interim. Although it is marine ply, it will outlast the boat even in this position. So it's basically going to cut to sit against here. I'm going to cut a rectangular hole in it to fit right through here, and it will extend beyond, and on the little shelf out front will be the steaming light. Come on, it's almost elegant. I'm going to establish an arbitrary horizontal plane where I'll cut this extra piece out here, and I'm going to say, there we go. A little extraneous 5200 in here, and that's as close to shipwriting as this project is going to get. 8 3/8 to 12. Yeah, close enough for me. Now the drag about this is that I can cut the bevel in one direction, but I have to invert it to the, I think you know what I mean. Maybe a slightly better workbench for future projects up here. Of course I can't test fit, so I've moved the mast out of the way here. Let's see what we... That is certainly good enough for me. And 8 3/8, roughly there, and 12, roughly there. Roughly there. Down, 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 down. Pretty close. Oh, plenty close for me. Okay, so before the mast goes the steaming light. Oh, I don't know, around there somewhere. So if I said that was the front edge, and I was to use, say, I don't know, this to create a bit of a circle for that, I'll just arbitrarily decide where the center of that circle was. About there, and maybe there. And let's come up a bit here, and here, and draw one of my favorite arcs here. Just lock that in there. See what that feels like about to there. A little longer. I've got it jammed in against my knee at 28 inches. So let's do that the other side. Jammed into my knee at 28 inches. Let's see where it lands. Just about right. Yeah. Beauty. Okay, so obviously this is a dog's breakfast, certainly all these splits in here, and the prospect of easing plywood, well, it just exposes all the veneer and stuff like that. But the truth is, it's solid, it's strong. By the time I shoot some stain on this, you know, it may not look all that bad. Alright, so now I just have to create a base up here for the anchor light, some round little thing. How about I splurge on a piece of real mahogany for the anchor light base? That would be really nice. Now, the only appropriate hole saw I have is ever so slightly larger than this, so a little sanding will solve that problem. Let me just line up here the best I can so we can economize. Actually, gotta be pretty close. When you're cutting off very, very close like that, make sure that you tilt the blade enough so that you remove these sections before it comes off of here. Otherwise, it's really hard to hold just that to get it off after. There we go. Beautiful. About there. Okay, woohoo! Now I just need to enlarge this hole so that it will line up with and connect to the trough in the backside here. About there. And in place. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Down a bit. I have a couple of screws already ready to go here. All right, this is looking okay. I'm liking this. Poor man's pocket screw. Good morning, Griff. Okay, well, this is a really exciting day. Off to pick up the fuel tanks, and they're going to be just lovely. And helping me today is my good friend Lloyd here.
Hey, Peter.
A little road trip for some fun?
Yeah.
All right, they're heavy.
Okay.
But there's good croissant on the way.
That
makes it look good.
That's part of it.
Just another opportunity to look at this beautiful boat. Is this just so gorgeous? Just so gorgeous. We'll get a proper tour in shortly. If you're ever fortunate enough to be here on Saanich Peninsula, north of Victoria, Mosey's Bakery up in Saanich. Sausage rolls, croissant, I mean, just amazing. Great little stop on the way to the fuel tanks. Right there. And there we go. Excellent. Now just straps. Anyway, we'll give these a proper tour when we get home, but bulletproof. So just before I leave, I just want to say, I gotta say a big shout out. JB Sheet Metal in Saanich on North Victoria did an absolutely bang up job of these tanks. It's quality work. I'm not saying it's cheap. There was no discount. I don't want to suggest that, but I got really quality work for a fair price and unbelievable customer service. Just wonderful guys. Anyway, can't say enough about them. Let's get them home. Ready? Yep. Roll it down. Roll it down in one motion there. Beauty. Back around the corner. Okay, let's review what we got going on here. The basic tanks ended up being just over 90 gallons, 90 and change. For those of you who've been following along, you'll know I originally thought they'd be 100 gallons. I just compromised a little bit to give myself some more options for mounting. In other words, a little more room underneath. 90 gallons, that's a total of 180 gallons. For this boat, that is a ton of range, and many of you have pointed out that I don't have to fill them. No, I don't. So the tanks are, did I forget the alloy? I'll get it to you. I'll probably put it right down here in a little text or something. Anyway, 3/16, like really massive aluminum. Basically 4 feet long, bent out of a single sheet. Had to put obviously 2 seams in it because you can't bend it all the way around. We got 2 sets of baffles with holes in the corners, end plates, and all the connections are in this inspection hatch. So we have 2 draw tubes in stainless steel, and then 2 other fittings. This one is vent to go overboard, and this one is the return. And the reason these are bigger is because I might do some interesting things with at least the vent, and I want some options anyway. Definitely the vents on the 2 tanks will be tied together. In other words, there'll be a T in here so that what it happens, it's possible that I end up drawing from one tank but returning to the other because I'm an absolute fool. What'll happen is it could overfill the tank that I'm returning to because I'm not drawing from that. If it was already full, it's going to overflow, and it'll overflow into the ocean. Woo! We don't want that. So what it'll do is it comes to the overflow, it'll then just bleed across into the other tank again and refill that tank. So there's no risk of ever overfilling a tank overboard. And I've checked with ABYC and my surveyor, and that's perfectly appropriate. And then just a regular float style Mueller sender. That's just a vertical float on a tube, which we can see. Very happy with that. I did not put an inspection hatch in each bay because I do not expect these tanks to get dirty at all, because I'll be running a regular polishing system, which should keep them squeaky clean all the time. More on that later, and more on why I have 2 pickups. And the actual filler down here is a 2-inch tube, which will go straight up in a very short hose to the deck fill, and he put a nice little knurled barbed connection on that. So very happy with that. Absolutely thrilled with these two tanks. What I'm going to do with them now, I'm not quite sure. Let me think about that. Okay. Well, welcome to the Travels with Geordie Beer of the Week, and I am joined today by my very good friend Lloyd, who you've met earlier in the episode, who has also agreed to let us shoot the Beer of the Week aboard his beautiful pre-war 1938 Monk Cruiser, which you've also seen. I'm in love with this boat, Lloyd.
Welcome.
It's just, I love the boat. Anyway, we're going to get a full tour in time next week. You watch it. Let's get straight onto the beer. This is brand new from Hoyne, which is a local brewery. In fact, we had the Hoyne Dark Matter just the other day, but it's a hazy IPA, and you know what I think of that. Actually, Lloyd knows me well enough to know because he picked this beer up.
I knew you'd like it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so excellent. So what's your first week of boat life been like?
It's been amazing. We've had gorgeous weather.
Yeah.
And the morning sunrise on the cockpit and the evening sunset on the cockpit, watching it go down. It's just been glorious.
It's a nice life.
It comes up over here,
and
it goes back down over there, and it reflects back across. And then last night, the lights of the city, it was just amazing.
It's a pretty good life. I gotta admit, it is not too bad. Okay, so let's see what we think of this Hoyne hazy IPA. Cheers.
Cheers. Very citrusy.
Very citrusy.
Very citrusy.
The hazies tend to be. I don't know.
That's very.
Now I'm not saying this is your beer. I'm not going to push you into this.
That's okay. I've enjoyed the hazies
really?
since you introduced me to them.
All right.
I gotten to like them.
It's been okay.
Like it. Yeah.
This is really great, and the fact that it's from Hoyne,
refreshing,
which is local. Yeah, exactly. It's a hot day. Exactly. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect for what we're getting on with. Got to congratulate and announce last week's winner of a Travels with Geordie t-shirt, Marcus Cooper. And Marcus is sitting about 100 yards behind me in an apartment building. Totally random, just happened his name came up. So Marcus, congratulations, you get a t-shirt. Plus, I hope I can do this without my glasses. We have a extra special mention this week of an extra winner of a Travels with Geordie t-shirt. TG. You're out there, and you wrote me this poem, and I gotta read this poem. I wish I brought my glasses. Oh my gosh, I'll manage. Okay. Busy as a busy bee, always much to do. Drill this, sand that, cut here, cut there. No time to even cut my hair. The engine, which I fit so neatly, now gently rumbles, oh so sweetly. The helm complete, as you can see, fills my heart with joy and glee. I love it, love it, love it. But with work to do on MVG and MVZ, sometimes I long to relax in bed. Still, as soon to be on the seas with the sun on my shoulder and a gentle breeze. For now, please join me with a beer not too fizzy. That is, of course, if you're not too busy. Cheers, mate. That was awesome, and you got the word of the weekend, so you want a shirt. Fabulous. Okay, I can't say I'm always going to give away a shirt for a poem, but probably. Okay, last week on PayPal, James Glass was very generous and sent a donation through PayPal. Thank you very much, James, and I'll cheers you. There you go, thanks, James. And okay, this is crazy. An unsolicited, very generous gift from John Carter. This lovely collection, let me hold them all in the right way up. 2 beautiful vintage dividers, so I can navigate properly. Lloyd is a full, you got your full offshore captain something, what did you get?
RYA.
RYA, yeah.
Skipper, yeah.
He's got way more credibility.
These are beautiful.
They're nice, so we'll be able to do some proper navigation with that.
Proper navigation.
And look at this caliper.
Ooh.
And it's amazing, okay, I love it. I absolutely love it, but there's more than that. This beautiful, beautiful bas-relief carving he sent me along as well, and of MV Geordie steaming through the seas, as it will soon. I absolutely love it. Thank you ever so much, John. That's gorgeous. Gorgeous. And also have to thank, off the Amazon wish list, Francois Lachapelle sent me not 1, but 2 really nice windshield wiper motors that I'll be putting in the next little while. Again, another step in compliance for my survey. These are really nice, Francois. Thank you ever so much. Okay, so we're done with that sort of stuff. I have to ask Lloyd a few questions.
Yes.
Why on earth did you leave your awesome life on the East Coast? I know Lloyd from Nova Scotia, and say I gotta go out there and live on the coast on a boat. I mean,
I came through here in 2002 on a cruise from San Francisco to Glacier Bay. Stayed 2 days in Victoria, fell in love with the town, fell in love with the entire Salish Sea, the Inside Passage, and that's all I want to do. I just want. I said this. If I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it.
This is it.
So
exactly.
This time, getting a beautiful wooden boat is a great way to do it.
It is. Now, yes, I might have leaned on him a little bit in the wooden boat department. He did come out here thinking a big fiberglass sailboat. No, not entirely.
Not entirely.
Yeah, but everything was on the table, I think.
Everything was on the table.
Yeah.
It was a power sail.
Yeah.
And it's just for single handling.
Right.
This is just easier.
It basically turned out, right?
It turned
out, and it was a good idea. Maybe it's not your last boat, but I hope it is.
But it's one I love it so far. It's just been beautiful.
Well, cheers to coming out and enjoying this new life.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here.
Thanks for the invitation.
Now you're on the spot.
Yes.
Because now we got to give away a T-shirt, and you got to come up with a word of the week.
Well, I think since this is your favorite, we should do hazy.
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 Oh boy, the Brits are not going to like
this.
this.
The Brits are not going to like it. But this is good. This is
I'm glad it's
acquired taste. You get used to it.
All right then. Well, I'll say the spiel. If you'd like to win a Travels with Geordie T-shirt, simply use the word hazy in a comment down below, and I pick at random over the first week or so of comments, and if I pick you, you'll win a Travels with Geordie T-shirt, and congratulations to you then. That's all I got to say. Cheers. This is great. Cheers.